today's show is sponsored by CaskCartel.com, changing the industry standard and how you get your alcohol. And the way they do that, they are like the Amazon of the spirits industry. So they get merchants together on their online platform. You can peruse through what is on there. If you want some whiskey, you want some rum, you want some scotch, you want some bourbon, tequila, mezcal, vodka, gin, whatever it is, CaskCartel.com has it, and they will ship it directly to your door. Like any online retailer, some of the prices for some of the hard to get things may be a little bit more expensive than you would get if you were going retail in your local store, or who knows, your local store could jack the prices up on you.
They're just the middleman. They're just the ends to the means.
Yeah,
correct.
They are, and that's one of those places that if you want some of the harder to get stuff, you might have to pay a little bit more, but you know, all the stuff that you enjoy every day, your daily drinkers, even some of your harder to find daily drinkers are going to be at good prices at CaskCartel.com. Check them out. Also go to Cask Cartel on Instagram. They're always doing awesome giveaways to their followers and their fans. It's always a good time. CaskCartel.com and Cask Cartel on Instagram. All of our glassware was provided by DistilleryProducts.com. Janie, Vicky, Carson, all the folks over there at DistilleryProducts.com. We love working with you. We love the fact that you guys deliver laser-etched glassware at awesome wholesale prices in North America. You guys are the only place where we can get the neat glass wholesale. You have Glencairns, you have wee Glencairns, you have Tipsy rocks glasses, you have regular rocks glasses, you have the Tua glass, flask, decanters, whatever it is. Go see our friends at DistilleryProducts.com. If you want me to hook you up with them, I'm happy to do so. Slide into my DMs. How's this right now? If I'm right here, is that good?
That's good.
Yeah, we'll see
That's
when
fine.
the music starts playing, but
Yeah.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
make sign language things at you.
yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Edwards, and I'm Stan Zeke Baker, but together we make the Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, thank you for making us a part of your day. We're going to record this as quick as we can because there is some music playing, and when the music comes back, I don't know if these two are going to hear me. We're all like sitting in each other's lap right now, but it is a big day here at Nelson's Greenbrier Distillery. I have both of the Nelsons sitting on the couch, Charlie and Andy Nelson. Welcome back to Dad's Drinking Bourbon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Nelson's Greenbrier Distillery.
Golly, this is crazy. What a time to be alive.
I love that we've recorded a few times, and you guys still have never met Zeke.
Yeah.
Like, JB's over there.
Does Zeke really exist?
Do you
Is
know that
Zeke?
they've never met Zeke?
It's true.
He
Tyler
doesn't
Durden.
exist.
You know that Schwarzenegger movie where the guy opens up and he's got a little head growing out?
Oh, yeah, Total Recall. Of course, that Schwarzenegger movie, please.
Zeke is the tumor that I carry around with me.
Not a tumor.
It's not a to get to the chopper, do it now. Let me start off saying congratulations. The line was 1,000 people long.
Yeah.
I walked the line with Charlie and Andy. Now, the funny thing is they know you, Charlie. They don't know Andy.
Yeah.
So you got yelled at, and Andy didn't.
I just walked around like some schmo. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. People were yelling at me, not happy. But I was also delivering news that they didn't want to hear. So, yeah, it's tough. I mean, I want to try and, appease everybody if possible, but it's tough.
Let's take it a step back, because I think this is a conversation that we should have. But how have you guys been? I mean, you released Nelson's Greenbrier Tennessee whiskey.
Yeah.
It's been a long couple of months. I've seen you guys. What have you been up to since we talked?
The Tennessee whiskey release has been the biggest thing, for sure. And then this honey release has been big. We've been kind of prepping for this for a while, but of course we didn't expect it. But yeah, the Tennessee whiskey release kind of traveling. It's only available as of right now in Middle Tennessee, and I guess about to be available in
Knoxville.
Yeah,
well, as of this past week, it's available in Knoxville. So,
But yeah, not too much traveling per se for that, but a lot of launch activity trying to get that word out.
that is your triple great grandfather's brand that you're bringing back. I mean, regardless of whether or not it's in Middle Tennessee or it's someplace else, for you guys, that has to feel like it's a huge accomplishment, reviving that from, the grave.
It's been insane. It's been like, I kind of joke that it's only taken us 13 years to get to the starting line, but it's kind of true. I mean, we started working on this whole project in 2006, and the original plan was to release, the Nelson's Greenbrier Tennessee whiskey. And initially, we didn't even know about Belle Meade Bourbon first until we started doing a bunch of the research and planning and everything. We discovered the label of Belle Meade and that it was produced in conjunction with another company. And so Belle Meade was meant to be like a bridge to get us to Greenbrier. And, then officially launching the Greenbrier Tennessee whiskey in Nashville on October 1st was kind of like the culmination of so much hard work. But like as soon as it happened, it was just like nonstop. And so we've hardly even been able to catch our breath since then. Then all this craziness starts happening here at the beginning of the year, and this past week with the tornadoes and coronavirus and the honey release. It's kind of been, I hate to say it's so cliche, but it's like the perfect storm of events. It's been insane.
Well, it's crazy because the tornado, it hit home to me, and Charlie, you and I talked on the phone about this. I had just moved down to Franklin in December. If I was still in the Nations, that thing would have touched down 2 blocks from my old house. Thankfully, for a lot of the folks in the Nations, it actually skipped up. The tornado hit Centennial, and then it went over the Nations and into Germantown. There's a lot of businesses in the Nations, a lot of new houses that are condensed in a small area.
Yeah, and so many of those houses are new houses that are, I don't want to say anything bad, but like a lot of them are not like super well built.
There's say a lot hypothetically, I don't want to say anything against anyone, but hypothetically, that might have been one of the reasons I moved from that area is that we got it. It was a brand new house, and I'm like, man, I think there's some stuff that's going to fall apart here.
Well, I mean, they were just
years.
Put together so fast.
Oh yeah,
and I mean, it makes me wonder if maybe like there will be some tighter codes put in place, or I mean, I'm no builder or developer or anything, but like I would think that you got to have at least some minimum level of requirements, because like some of those buildings just obviously the tornado was a beast. So it's hard to really say, but it'd be nice to have like all of the buildings be able to withstand some powerful storms.
And I know for a lot of us in town and in the hospitality community, the liquor community, there were 2 bartenders at Attaboy that unfortunately lost their lives. Best Brands lost 40% of their inventory.
I know.
There were
crazy.
Countless, Weiss Liquors and Main Street Liquors, everybody around here. And that's why not only just the liquor community, the hospitality community, but our brothers and sisters here in Nashville, 48 buildings were destroyed, countless homes in East Nashville to Mount Juliet, all the way out to Lebanon, that are destroyed. And that's one of the reasons why you guys today have encouraged people. You have Gideon's Army here. I know you've been encouraging people to donate to the community fund of Middle Tennessee as well. So these are 2 organizations that are doing amazing things. Gideon's Army is always putting things out there on Instagram saying, this is what we need from you, whether or not it's peanut butter, it's formula, it's toothpaste, whatever it is, they are off there doing that. So bunch of good organizations. Thank you guys for doing that. Talk a little bit about today,
of course,
and how you're tying it into charity.
Yes, sorry to jump in, Andy, but we always want to have some sort of charitable aspect to like every event that we do. But I mean, the events of the past week hit especially close to home, and I mean, only a few blocks from where we're sitting right now, there was a lot of destruction. And we have the Louisa Nelson Awards every year. Rashida Fatuga is the leader of Gideon's Army, and she was one of the winners. And we had most of Gideon's Army here in this space last year for the Louisa Nelson Awards, and they're the ones who are like leading the charge in North Nashville. And so Gideon's Army is here accepting donations right now. It's an amazing thing right now. And so like it's honestly the least that we could do is, while we've got a captive audience, to try and get as much. I mean, there's so many people that are here not just from Nashville, but I mean, I've heard of people coming in from Florida, California, New York, Oregon, Illinois, DC. I mean, people all over the country are here. I was blown away. And having them be able to donate to Nashville and help is an amazing, beautiful thing. And
they're all talking about drinking it, too. That's one of the good things, too. Not just donating to Nashville and the community and everything that's hit hard here, but also these people were in line saying, I can't wait to try the honey.
Yeah.
Especially for a release that we know, let's just be honest, guys, we know this is going to go on secondary, and we know that the honey fetches a pretty penny. I was encouraged as we were walking around how many people actually want to drink it.
Yeah, that's the coolest thing, because, with all these, any special release at any distillery, that's a big kind of sought after thing. Of course, there's the secondary market, and that's just kind of part of it. But in my mind, it's like this stuff is made to be drunk and enjoyed, and so that's I think that's the right way to do it.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
I've been eyeing these 4 glasses that we've had down here.
Yeah.
Charlie and I looked at each other. We locked eyes. We're like,
Are
should
you
we
guys
try?
gonna kiss or something?
Do we just
There's no
become
cameras
best
around
friends?
here, but
Should we?
I don't
have
mean
a
kiss. I mean try these whiskeys.
Well, we are going to all use the communal cup. Have you been checked for coronavirus lately?
Well, funny enough, the person who gets the gift for the furthest traveled for this release comes straight from Wuhan, China. I don't know if anybody knew that.
Now, what do
That's
we
a joke. I really didn't mean that.
set this up, Mr. Distiller over here? There are 4 different releases of the honey. There's 4 different barrels here. What do we have? I think it's ascending one
So
way,
we've
right?
got from lowest to highest proof. The lowest proof is exactly 100 proof, and these are individual barrels. So just a quick kind of fun fact about these barrels with the honey and the whiskey in them. We've got True Bee Honey, who is also here showing folks, samples of their honey and kind of selling T-shirts and showing what they've got, what they're all about. They asked us if we could give them a used bourbon barrel at first because they do a barrel-aged honey. So we said, yeah, sure. Didn't even think twice about it. And then they did their thing. They put the honey in the barrel. They dumped it out. And then they asked if we wanted it back. And that's when the light bulb went off in our heads. It was like, all right, yeah, actually, that would be a super cool idea. So we got the barrel back and found that honey has this really cool quality about it. It's hygroscopic, meaning it attracts moisture. And so what happens when there's a bunch of honey in the barrel, it sucks all the moisture out of the wood, and the wood kind of dries up a lot. So when we got it back from them, we had to rehydrate it and kind of swell the barrel so it would seal and sort of reconstitute itself, so to speak, so that when we put the bourbon in, it didn't just all leak out. So was that even answering the question?
I think it was interesting for the fact that I don't think I knew that you had to reseal the barrel after the honey goes in there, the way to actually make it go tight again. That's something I learned. I didn't know it, so thank you.
Yeah, always here to teach. But so what we've got here right in front of us are 4 different barrels. Each came out a different proof. So the lowest one is exactly 100 proof, and then the next one is 111 and change. I can't remember exactly. Next one is 115 point something proof, and then the highest is 116.4. Is that right? It's 116 anyway. Each one yields a different flavor profile. And of course, it's a different whiskey in there, of course, but then the honey will affect it kind of in different ways. So I tend to think that the best way is to either go lowest to highest or highest to lowest proof, just to see the kind of how the honey will affect the bourbon in different ways.
Well, I'm a guest in your house, so I'm going to let you pick.
Let's start off with 100 proof. Let's go low to high.
All right, so we're just
How's
going to
that?
pass this around. I'll take the first sip,
Yeah,
and I'll
yeah.
let you do it.
So John just tried his.
Okay.
So I'm definitely getting coronavirus now. That's pretty good.
I do like the 100 proof. It is one of those things. I had a conversation with someone the other day, and Zeke disagrees with me, but it's about single barrels. And when you proof them down to arbitrary numbers like 100 or 107, and they're so even, you don't realize with a single barrel, like 101.3 might be the best proof for the barrel.
Right.
So I always feel like the 100 you do, and it's the nod to history, right? It's the bottled and bond proof. It's just easy to do a 100 proofer. A lot of people like 100 proofers.
Well, nothing's easy in this business, I just must say, but
It's an easy decision. It's an easy marketing decision. How about that? So this next one we're going to go up to, this is the 111, right?
It's 111, yeah. So I tend to think that it gets, the lower the proof, the sweeter, the product. Perhaps because there's less alcohol and more kind of honey flavor, so to speak. By the way, there's not like honey flavoring in it. It's just, bourbon coming into contact with the actual raw, natural wildflower honey that was in the barrel.
Now the color, as you go up, the 111 and the 115, they almost have a darker color
Yeah.
than even the 116 and the
Yeah, for
100.
sure.
It's those middle two, even just from the naked eye,
Yeah,
it
it's
looks
really
like it's
interesting.
dialing in to a certain point.
Yeah.
Can I just take a side note that, like, you totally have a Daniel Craig lookalike doing security here? A Daniel Craig lookalike doing security? It looks like you
that
have
is
James
Daniel
Bond.
Craig. We brought him in.
He's doing Saturday Night Live tonight.
Well, I mean,
It's only a couple hours from here to New York, so he'll be fine.
private jets, dog.
He's a pro.
But, like, when you have a guy who's a little bit older and he's not wearing a tie, he's wearing a suit, he's not wearing a tie, and, like, he's just kind of standing by the door, it screams that, like, I know karate and I'm going to kick the shit out of you.
Many types of karate.
I heard that there was a bit of a ruckus, a little bit of a
scuffle or
a
something?
scuffle outside last night, or
Oh, man.
early this morning, rather.
Uh-oh.
Did you hear about that?
No.
That there was a scuffle in line.
Seriously?
Yeah,
Now,
I mean,
Now,
we-
the guy that took over for him, he looks like a dad. Turn around. The guy that took over for Daniel Craig looks too much like Tom Hanks now. He does not look like he's going to kick someone's ass. Like, so now's the time. If you're going to bum rush and get a honey, and you're just going to go in and, like, do a mad dash, do it when
We're not
Tom
live,
Hanks
are
is
we?
there. No.
Okay.
This is all recorded. I'm just saying, like, next time they do a release, just wait until the Tom Hanks guy is sitting there. Now, this third one, what's the proof on this?
This is like, there's some smokiness to this.
Yeah.
And that's
What's
really
this one? 115?
It's it's a 115.1 maybe? I can't remember, but it's a 115 point something.
I like it because it has honey, but it's got that smoke to it, and it's not overpowering, but it just has some depth.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's really,
really good.
important to us and to me is, like, to make sure that people recognize this as bourbon with a bit of influence from, in this case, honey or whatever it is the finishing cask it's in, as opposed to saying, like, I feel like I'm drinking honey with a little bit of bourbon in it. That's not what we want.
Yeah,
So-
that 116, it's honey, but it's oaken honey rather
Yeah.
than smoking honey on that one. I don't know if you get that.
Yeah, definitely. There's a little bit. Yeah.
If you like an
100%.
oaken honey, that 116 is going to be your jam. I think if you like smoking honey, that 115 is going to be your jam. The 111 is more honey.
The 100 is like, that's, someone told me earlier today. He said, I think that 100 proof I could just sit and drink with a straw.
Yeah.
But, the 116 you may need to, put a little ice cube in it or something, some water or whatever.
Now, are you able to even play favorites at this point?
Of all these four?
Yeah.
No, not really. Because, of course we tried them before we released them. But I just love, like, I never have a favorite. And it sounds like such a cop-out answer because people ask me if I have what's my favorite whiskey other than my own. And I'm like, I really don't have one because I don't have a go-to. I really want to try everything, and I appreciate the sort of nuances of each different thing. And that's the same here. I think the 115 is the biggest outlier here with that smoke, which is really cool. But I also have a sweet tooth, so I really love that 100 proof.
What about you?
Man, I love them all. I just love the fact that
You're such a you are the politician of it, too.
Well, I mean, I like a little bit of sweetness. I like a little bit of spice, and I like a little bit of so I think that there's a time and place for everything, really. I've said that before, and I like to sometimes compare it to beer. I like beer. I like tequila. My top things are whiskey, agave spirits, and beer. And I think that if you're out on a boat on the lake or something, I'd like to have
Get you the smokiest mezcal you can find.
I'm on a boat.
I'm on a boat. No. If I'm on a boat, I'm gonna want like some cheap, easy drinking beer. Like Bud Light, Busch Light, Miller Light, whatever. Coors.
You're not going to sit there and have like a sour or
Right.
a New England IPA.
I mean, I might have one as
heavy.
like the first beer of the day or something, but then like I like an IPA from time to time, but like I generally only want to have one. And then like depending on the season and just where we are, how my mood is,
A nice buttery Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'll be the first to tell you. I say it over and over, and our listeners are going to get tired of me doing it. But I call them lawnmower pours. It's when you're in the summer and you're on the lawnmower, you don't want something heavy. You want something light enough that you're gonna.
Yeah.
It's like the Keystone Light of whiskey, and you need that just as much as you need the Bud Heavies of whiskey.
Totally.
And I'm not going to sit there and mow the lawn and drink Bud Heavies.
Did you just try to, show a spectrum of whiskey or of beers going from Keystone Light to Bud Heavy? That was the widest net you could cast.
Well, maybe Bud Heavy's in the middle.
Work on
with,
that,
with
man.
craft. I don't drink as much beer.
Have you ever heard? There's a type of beer called a stout beer.
Oh,
It's
I
real
love
dark.
stout. I'll tell you, most of the time, if it's not at Bearded Iris or Southern Grist,
Bearded
I
Iris
don't
does some
know.
great stuff. There's a lot of great local breweries here, which, by the way, one of my favorite new ones is Various Artists. It's probably like the smallest brewery in town, but they've just got a list of a bunch of different beers. And by the way, you talked about Keystone. I haven't had a Keystone in a long time, but it reminded me of college.
30 Stones, $9.99.
We would fill up our bathtubs with Keystone.
It reminds me of
30
those-
packs of
It
Keystone.
reminds me of the commercials. That wasn't that Keystone Light that had the bitter beer face commercials.
Yeah.
I think
Where,
so.
like the old
With
guy with no teeth.
Keystone.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that because we have a special guest who just sat down with us, Seth Weinberg, the man behind the counter at Bourbon Steak, who makes things happen. Go see this guy. He's one of our favorite people in Nashville. Seth, how are you?
Good. How are y'all doing today? It's pretty wild out here.
It is pretty wild out here.
I just came by to taste all the barrels, have a little taste before work. Start my day off right, if you know what I mean. So
Now, we know because we just tasted through all four of these. There's all different proofs, all different profiles. What was your favorite out of all of these?
every barrel was delicious, but they all really have a unique character, which is so cool because the proofs vary from 100 to 116, which is great.
Everybody stop being a politician in front of Charlie.
All right,
Day.
all right.
I like the smoky 115 the best. How about that? That's my favorite.
I thought 115 I would love, but it hit me weird. I think just because I was on three whiskeys in like a minute and a half. The one I thought was most well integrated, most well balanced, and just really, really like crowd pleasing was the 111. But my personal favorite was the 116, and I'm not just one of those freak, like I love high proofers. It just like the richness and the balance and the depth of flavor on the 116 was what I would want to sit down and drink the most. But for the everyday person, I would tell them to buy the 111.
Or the 100 with a straw. That's the other option. You're going to get a Nelson's Greenbrier straw that you could put in there and drink it that
Paper
way.
straw,
that's,
of course.
That's like your entry level, 100 proof whiskey. That's what everybody should drink when they're in diapers.
A
So.
biodegradable 100 proof straw that has G's all over it, just like the Nelson's Greenbrier Glencairn. Everybody go see Seth at Bourbon Steak. Tell him that you want the most expensive bourbon on the menu for free because you heard him on this show. Nobody's gonna do
whatever
that.
get you in the door,
Nobody's
We'd love to see y'all. So, well, you guys have a fun day. Thanks for letting me sit on the couch for a little while.
Everybody go see Seth Weinberg at Bourbon Steak. It is on top of the JW Marriott Hotel. They actually have an amazing view of downtown Nashville. But back to the most important thing, this beer conversation we were having. Have you had the Southern Grist, the peach cobbler, and the blackberry cobbler?
I have not.
Now, I am typically not a sour guy. I'm typically an IPA or a stout guy. They have this blackberry cobbler and a peach cobbler, and I shit you not, it tastes like the dessert.
Are they open today?
Yes.
Might have to go get one.
Yeah, they're down.
Or are they out?
If not, I have one in the fridge I'll bring up to you.
So I got to be honest, I didn't hear what you said. I may have tried it. I hope I didn't ruin everything.
The Southern Grist, they have a peach cobbler and a blackberry cobbler.
Oh, no. I haven't had that.
If you're in town, your travel, Constellation has canceled your travel plans for the next couple of months. So I will bring you up a beer next week.
Yeah, I'll ride I live right near their original Southern Grist location. I'll wander over there pretty soon.
You have to get the cobblers. I'm normally not a sour
What
guy.
do they just like throw a bunch of cobblers in the
They throw
tanks?
a bunch of peach and blackberry in the
Grind
tanks.
up a bunch of people who make shoes and make a beer out of it.
And it's a little bit of milk and elves. It is elves that cobble.
elves?
Elves, yes. Keebler elves, not cobbler elves.
Yeah, I mean, it's not Buddy. Buddy is too big to cobble. There is some great beer in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
I think the amount of distilleries that have opened up and the amount of breweries that have opened up lately, it's
Beautiful.
amazing.
Yeah.
A lot to do here if you want to drink something in Nashville. We could sit here and talk about beer all day, guys, and it would be a heck of a lot of fun. This whole event, let's go back to, I think a lot of people saw that they were excited, they were in line. People waited overnight.
Yeah, the first people got in line around 4 p.m. yesterday.
And I know they got a lot of hell because people were like, you could be out helping people clean up from the tornado,
Yeah.
but you're sitting in front. So they got their hell for that reason. Any other normal week, I think everybody would be fine with them sitting there waiting overnight. But how does that make you feel, I think, from a distillery standpoint? You now have people waiting overnight for a release.
I don't think that has ever happened before here for a release. I mean, we've had, a couple hundred people in line before, but I mean, by this morning, we had over 700 people in line. And so it's crazy. It's both like very exciting and positive and great because obviously, we're doing something right, I guess. But on the other hand, it's like, man, this is a lot to manage and, want to make sure that we do as much as we can to make it as many people happy as possible. But at the end of the day, we know that's just, you get a group of 700 people together, you're not going to get anybody to agree on anything. And so there are going to be people who are, put off by this or that or whatever. But the point is, like, having been kind of blown away by this, we didn't fully expect all this. So it's a very good learning experience for us.
Yeah.
And so, next time this happens, we'll know a little better and, prepare a little better and be able to just
Definitely a learning experience. I mean, there's, like Andy said, there were 700 people, but several hours before we opened. By the time we opened, there were probably 1,000 people, and it was insane. And John, you and I walked down the line, and we're letting people know that a lot of them were not going to get bottles.
Yep.
And they were angry. They were yelling at me and not happy, and it didn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good to get yelled at. But I also think that it's rough because people don't realize everything that goes into this day.
Yeah. And we have no idea what to expect. Like, we had no idea that there would be 1,000 people before the doors open. We thought maybe, like, before we decided on having it be limit 1 bottle per person, we were thinking, oh man, let's maybe do 2 bottles per person because, like, there'll probably only be like a couple hundred people that show up or something like that. And we didn't know what exactly we were going to do with all of the bottles. We want to make sure that when we do a run that, we set some aside for our library. We use some for charitable donations and that sort of thing. And so, like, people ask exactly how many bottles there are going to be available. And truth is, by the time the door opens, we don't even necessarily know exactly how many bottles there are going to be. So if we give one answer of X number of bottles, and that's not exactly how, like, there are people in line counting exactly how many people are in line. So if we're off by a bottle or 10 bottles or something, then people are going to be pissed. So we're trying to figure out how best to do it. I mean, we spent like way more time and energy trying to prepare for this release than we do sometimes for like an entire month of work. And so we're trying to learn lessons from it.
There's a lot of people that really want these. I think it's tough. There needs to be almost a ballpark-ish figure. You know, like if you plan and say we're going to try to have X amount of bottles, and then people know that X amount of bottles are there. And this is the thing is we could have this conversation now, but it's not going to take effect for years because that's how whiskey works.
Right. The good news here is that there are people who care so deeply about this and they take it so seriously that it's like that's what gives us, our livelihood. And that's obviously we appreciate the hell out of that. I mean, that's amazing. On the other hand, my kind of line for today, just for, if people kind of start yelling at others for it's like, we're not curing cancer here. We're providing some whiskey that people like and that people can enjoy. And especially if their only concern is getting a bottle and listing it for 10 times what they paid for it, like that's their own prerogative and that's the way the world works. But if someone's going to try to get mad at us just because they weren't able to flip it for 10x or whatever, like, all right, I don't know if I can.
And also, like, got to keep in mind that, like, today's a special day because we are taking a portion of sales from all bottle sales, all of the honey sales, all of our tours and tastings, everything. This will be the biggest day in the history of the company for us, and we're going to be donating a lot of it to charities to help with the tornado relief. And while I understand that people were upset seeing other people in line so early and not like volunteering for the relief efforts, at least people that have waited in line for so long, and a lot of them have come in from out of town and they wouldn't be here anyway, like that they specifically came for the purpose of buying a bottle of honey. And my hope is that they'll come for the honey, stay for the volunteer efforts, and help with the tornado relief.
I like that. Come for the honey, stay for the community.
Yeah.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a shirt idea.
I just text our trademark attorney. We got it.
I tried to get one, and I thought about it later. What was it? Something like honey is sweet, but nothing sweeter than Nashville.
Yeah, something like that.
I was trying to do that as a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Although I do feel, I got to say, like, Charlie knows I talk, and I'm going to give him some shit right now because, every single time Charlie calls me, he goes, hey, man, I only have 10 minutes. So I got to make this quick. Like, he knows. He's like, I'm just going to say this right now. So I have this internal
That's what they
clock.
call managing expectations.
Whenever I talk to Charlie, I kind of look at the clock and I go, okay, he's going to start getting itchy in about 9 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to get right to the point and get off with him.
You got to do it.
Something that Dave Pickerel told me, he was kind of a mentor for both Andy and I. And something that he told me was people are not going to give you the time that you need, so you're gonna have to steal people's time. And I was like, I didn't know what he meant at first, and then he sort of led by example, and I was like, oh, okay. So when someone would be like, I've got 5 minutes for you, I'd be like, okay, and I'd steal 30.
Yeah.
And so, that was mostly when we were trying to raise money for building out the distillery and everything, when be talking to folks who are running their businesses or didn't have the time for me. But anyway.
I always have the time for you.
You
don't have to steal time with me.
I get nervous about being a thief, a time thief.
You guys are good people. It's always good to catch up with you. And I think the majority of people, because this is up in the Dad's Drinking Bourbon group, this is the amazing thing about having things nowadays be live, not like this podcast is live, but people that are actually posting on our group and doing pictures, and they're saying the number, having an actual ticket. I know there's a list this time, and you guys aren't even as big on you pay people to run this list for you. And I think that's the other funny thing is that people were like, oh, it's up to Charlie and Andy. It's like you're delegating,
right,
as good people should. and you're saying, hey, who's going to run the list? The people on Dad's Drinking Bourbon are saying there should be an actual ticket. So say if the number is 550 and the number was not 550 today, this is an arbitrary number. But if it's 550, you could sit there and go, okay, I'm going to go to the first 550 people in line. You get a physical ticket. Outside of that physical ticket, you know that there's going to be a charitable component for the rest of the time. Like, that's basically the feedback.
I like that idea. I mean, obviously, we need to flesh it out some more, but I like that idea so that people still have an opportunity. And we just need to, work out the kinks legally and everything.
Yeah, it's got to be legal. It's got to be legit. And, next time, guys, I'm going to bring headphones. It's okay.
Yeah, bring headphones for us next time.
I had headphones. Typically, Zeke does not make me bring headphones because he says that it messes him up when he hears his own voice.
Yeah.
You guys are pros, though. You don't need... You actually need the headphone to hear me.
I know. Every time you say Zeke's name, I just imagine, like, that it's like you're...
I imagine it's you in a wig.
There's a joke on the Tennessee Distillers Guild that they think I pay the person in the Instagram photos to be an actor. And they're like, I'm like, no, that's Zeke. I just posted a picture. They go, you could hire people in Nashville. I'm like, I hire the same guy every time.
He's a crisis actor.
He is just an actor. He stages things with me, and he's always in a mesh trucker hat. Always.
I thought you were going to say a mesh tank top.
No. That's later. I mean, I could still rent him, but it's not during the hours.
Wow, this is getting real weird.
Yeah.
I love it.
You can rent anything with actors. You guys, what is your favorite release? Let's just go there. Yeah, there's Honey, there's Madeira, there's Mourvedre, and there's Black Belle.
I'll go ahead and, since I'm the least likely to say favorites, I'm going to go ahead and say my favorite is the Mourvedre.
Really?
Yeah.
It's the after dinner drink.
I mean, I love it all the time, every time.
So I love the Mourvedre as well. I might even like the Tannat actually even better than that.
Really?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, I forgot about the Tannat.
Because there's a bit of a sweetness there. Like I said, I have a sweet tooth, so I prefer that. But to be perfectly honest, I think that one of the upcoming releases that we haven't yet announced, but I've tasted, may end up being my favorite one. I can't say anything more about that. But
Yeah, there's some good ones coming.
Super cool ones.
Small ones, though, that maybe we should tell people exactly how many bottles there are.
We'll take our lessons from today.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, these ones that are coming up later on this year, 1,000 people better not line up because you're not going to get it.
Yeah, there's not going to be 1,000.
No.
I can say that right now.
I mean, this is probably our biggest, or maybe we do more
maybe
Black
Black
Belle?
Belle.
Yeah, we did bigger Black Belle release, but this was the biggest, most highly anticipated and biggest turnout.
Yeah.
I would say.
And I feel like there needs to be a party. Like, what about, I'm still got screwed on those barrel rolling competitions. I'm still bitter because...
Did you scrape your knee?
No, I won my heat. I just didn't take my hands off the barrel.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I clearly had like a 10-second win.
Well.
And then my fat ass was just resting on the barrel when I was done. And I was like, I beat him. I picked it up. And
Pick
it
up your cardio, bro.
Well, no, it was funny because the
Can't be
guy was
resting on that
super
barrel.
jacked and skinny. And
Yeah.
I had that lineman, like, if you want me to get down and get in a lineman position and push a barrel, I'm going to kick everyone's ass. And then I picked it up, and there we go. But, boys, it's always a pleasure having you two on.
Yeah, thanks for
Pleasure
having us.
being on.
We love hanging out with you guys. One time I will bring Zeke, and then I will see Andy. Are you going to go to Spirits and Soul? Or is just
I'm not
Andy?
sure.
Since other travel is canceled, you might as well just come down there.
I'm going to have to take a look at it. Like, prior to, the recent events, I was going to be on the road basically until June, but it looks like my schedule might be opening up, so we'll see.
Maybe you should drive down there. We'll do another podcast, and I think it might be fun if you guys are game for this. We just drink beer. And it's not Charlie and Andy Nelson on there talking about Nelson's Greenbrier. It's just three friends sitting around drinking some beer.
That could be fun.
And talking about it. Let's do that. And you guys, it's NGBD. Is it NGB Distillery?
Yeah.
NGB Distillery, Belle Meade BRBN
Yep.
on Instagram, Belle Meade Bourbon on Facebook, Nelson's Greenbrier Distillery, Facebook, Twitter, Instagrams. You now have the Nelson's Greenbrier Tennessee Whiskey. You have all the stuff in the Craftsman Cast series. Any other single barrels that we should know of? You got any MGP lying around that people want to?
Not really.
I put you on the spot. You gave me the look. Shit.
There's a reason you lost that damn barrel race.
You guys, we love you, and we love to see people in Nashville doing good things. We've heard this music a lot. Let's go enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cheers.
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 Thank you.